Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. So today I wanted to just talk about appreciating every stage of life that your kids go through. You're never going to be able to take back today. You're never going to be able to make the memories that could have been made today, tomorrow, or the next day. None of us are actually assured tomorrow. Promised that we will have a tomorrow, or a tomorrow that looks the same as today. So I think in our family, we have been through enough trials that we understand that we don't always know what tomorrow will hold. For those who maybe are new to our channel, I know we've had some new viewers. We are a family of 10 living in the household. So it's myself and my husband, Mark. And at home, we have a 17-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, an 11-year-old son, a 9-year-old daughter, 6-year-old son, 4-year-old son, 2-year-old son, and then new baby who is just over 2 weeks. And so if you haven't watched us much, we have some disabilities in our family that cause issues where we have been hospitalized for periods of time. Josiah specifically is who I'm talking about. He's the 11-year-old and he has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And twice we've ended up in the hospital, intubated because of a seizure that wouldn't stop. And back 15 years ago, we had a full-term pregnancy that ended in the stillbirth of our son, Joshua. And so both of those situations, we are just reminded on a regular basis how precious life is. And I'm not saying other people don't think about that, but I know before we had Joshua, I had had a miscarriage before him, 2 pregnancies before him. And I realized that pregnancy can end, at the beginning, just a couple weeks in. But I had never thought of the idea of a baby who went full term and then wasn't born breathing. And so every baby we have, I remember that day when we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know that there was any problem until he was born, not breathing. It wasn't something we anticipated. It wasn't something that we had medical care in place or anything, because we just didn't know. And the situation around it, there was some medical neglect a few days before the birth that could have changed things, but I also know that it was all in God's hands, and God is sovereign over all of it. And we have the children we have because God has placed them here and God sustains their life each day. So I'm not trusting God in all those things, but in my trusting of God and knowing that he uses all things to the good for those who love him, I also know that that might not be what I see as the perfect thing that we want happening. So anyway, I just wanted to make this video to remind people to appreciate each little stage. I know as a first-time mom, I was very concerned about my daughter's development, and I wanted to kind of rush each stage. So I was very excited for her to roll over. I was very excited for her to crawl. I was very excited for her to walk. And in being that excited about those things, I actually was pushing her in ways that ran her through the stages quicker. And I'm not saying it's not good to push your children, expect things of them, but I missed out on enjoying the stage of crawling because I was so anticipating the stage of her walking, if that makes sense. I also think that we can push them through stages quicker than they need to be. Children are made by God to develop in a certain way. And so they spend a certain amount of time doing the different stages. And crawling is a very good thing for babies. As we've learned more about Josiah and his brain injury, we have seen how important it is for crawling to happen for babies. And for Virginia, crawling didn't really happen much because I was so excited to see her walking that I was putting her up on her feet a lot when her body wasn't really ready for that. I'm not saying I was like abusing her or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that of parents. I'm just saying that, like, while I should have just enjoyed her crawling and watching her crawl and explore around the house. Instead, I was sitting on the floor and standing her up and trying to see if we could get her walking. And God has made each of those stages for a different reason. God has put us in a place where, as newborns, we are very, very dependent on our mothers. This little guy is kind of attached to me all the time, literally sometimes. So nursing, but also just if I go to use the bathroom, he'll cry because he's not with mommy. And he has loving caregivers with him. I'm not saying that, but there's something special between a baby and parents, and something special about between a baby and siblings, and being able to enjoy those times instead of trying to push them away. We live in a society that is very much wants children to be independent from the very start, but God has made babies to be very dependent on those taking care of them. And if we're always pushing them to sleep by themselves, or we're pushing them away by having lots of different people feed them bottles instead of that time as a bonding time for the baby, we're missing out on things that God has made for us to be able to enjoy. Babies need mom and dad and siblings more than they need other people. And so when we are giving them that attachment early on, they're learning to trust their caregivers and to know that someone's there for them. So after you get past the newborn stage, right now we're just pretty much eating and sleeping. We get to enjoy him being awake a little bit and watching his eyes and stuff like that, but he's not really interacting all that much. When you get past that stage and you get to hear the coos and you get to make faces at them, and they learn to copy your, like, what you're doing with your lips, they learn to copy your sounds. Those are all ways that your child's learning from you as time goes on. Then you get to the crawling stage and the exploring, being able to grab things with their hands and being able to explore the world around them, which naturally God has made it that they put things in their mouths, which I know is kind of gross to some people, but that's the way that they've been made to develop, to learn about the world around them. Then you get into the toddler stage where they're learning to be a little more independent, and that can be hard because they're learning to say no and you have to teach them when is the right time to listen. Like when mommy and daddy speak, you need to obey what's being said, but also giving them time to explore and to learn about the world around them through cause and effect, and just being with other people, like seeing their siblings playing and stuff like that. You also have them wanting to become more independent and wanting to do some things for themselves. So like right now we have a 2.5-year-old. And so he's, kind of past the toddler stage, but in that, I don't know what exactly you'd call him, the end of a toddler stage. I don't know. But in this stage, he very much wants to help out. He wants to do chores. He wants to, like today he was getting a drink of water and he accidentally spilled some, and so he walked over and he got a towel and he dried it up because he knows that's what we do to clean up. So more of that, taking some personal responsibility, some self-care, learning how to be a part of the family and to be a needed part of the family. I think people, this video is getting into a whole lot of stuff. I think people forget how important chores are for kids, because it teaches them that they're part of a bigger whole instead of just taking care of themselves, like everyone fending for themselves. I know when I was a kid, I'm not saying I didn't have any chores, I just don't remember having a ton of chores. I remember my sister and I occasionally like cleaning up the house when my parents were gone. We'd like do all the dishes and get things done. But I don't remember daily chores. But my sister and I were at school all day, and then we'd come home, and it was more about each of our individual things, where as a family, especially a homeschooling family, we spend time with everybody doing work and like helping out. So like your job of doing laundry is very important to everyone because we all want clean laundry, but somebody else's job is to make sure the dishes are clean, those types of things, and feeling like you're part of a whole. So making your kids right from the beginning, I mean, not this stage, but once they're able to start doing things, help them to realize that they're part of that group too. And they can help out. So then moving on from there, you have the early preschool where they're starting to learn a lot of things, and you're seeing those light bulbs go off as they realize, a new letter sound, or they learn a new math concept. I'm not talking math like 100 times 100. I'm saying just the understanding of like being able to count to 5 and see those things, like that moment when they're realizing those things. And then as you get older and older, being able to teach them Bible verses and sing songs. The other day we were at church, and there were songs that the kids knew, and they were just singing so loudly and so joyfully, even though they don't totally understand. We have some kids in our family who are not believers, and so we're teaching them what it looks like to be a believer, even if they don't understand that fully in their hearts yet. Being able to choose and help them learn the things that you find are important for your family, being Bibles and catechisms and hymns and all of those things. Also just sitting and watching. We've had a busy couple weeks, and today, while we were doing our Bible time, the 2-year-old was sitting down on the floor playing with a certain toy, and just watching him like think through the things that were happening, and just the joy he had when it was a building toy. So he would like get something built, and he was so excited about it. But also remembering that we only have these kids on loan from God for a short period of time. Sometimes it's shorter than others, but being able to really just appreciate each moment, because at some point you're not going to have those moments anymore. So today we had to say goodbye to our oldest daughter, who lives in Tennessee, and I'm probably going to cry because I'm postpartum, but she lives in Tennessee, and she's 20 years old, she's married, and she has a baby on the way. And she came to be here for the birth of her baby brother, and she had to head home because she's due in 7 weeks with her own baby. And it was great to see her. It was great to see her husband. And then we had to say goodbye. And, that's hard, but it also is something that's the stage in life that God has us in right now. So appreciating the time that we have together, but also appreciating that she's grown into a beautiful young woman who God has taken and given to a husband, and she has her own ministry right now to her little family and to her church down there and all of that. And you never know when are going to be those last moments. Right now at home, the oldest is 17. And so I know that just a few years from now, she might be out of the house too. And what are the things that I want to instill in her as a Christian woman, as a hopefully wife and mother one day? What are the things that I want to instill? Because I know that I only have so much more time to do those things. But also just appreciating the time that we have right now. And so I just hope that this is an encouragement to sit down and just really enjoy your children. I think we do a lot of thinking of the future, and life will be better, life will be different, whatever, after this. I know we just went through this a couple weeks ago when we were waiting for baby, and you just don't know what day that's going to happen. But instead of waiting until things change, I know this is very easy to just be like, okay, so when this happens, these things are going to happen. But instead, just appreciating the moment you're in. And I just wanted to hope that was an encouragement to you. Your babies are only here for so long. Your big kids are only around for so long, but you have time to invest in them right now. So what is important to your family, and what are you investing in your children? Thank you for watching Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. If you like this video, you can subscribe or share or whatever you want to do. But I hope that you guys will come back and join me as I continue talking through baby things, but also just motherhood and homeschooling. Thank you for our new viewers. We will see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.